For thousands of years, deep within the sweeping grasslands of Tanzania, the Hadza people have lived in a way that has changed very little with time. Unlike most modern societies, they do not farm the land, raise animals, or stockpile food for the future. Instead, they survive as hunters and gatherers, relying entirely on the resources of the surrounding wilderness. Today, the Hadza remain one of the last communities on Earth to preserve this ancient way of life. What makes the Hadza truly extraordinary is not simply their ability to survive in such a harsh environment, but their willingness to embrace uncertainty as a normal part of life. Every sunrise brings new questions. Will the hunters find game? Will the land provide enough food for the community? No one can know for certain. Yet generation after generation, they have placed their faith in the skills, instincts, and traditions passed down by their ancestors, trusting the wisdom that has guided their people for thousands of years. As the first rays of sunlight spill across the Tanzanian savanna, the Hadza hunters quietly prepare for another day in the wilderness. One by one, they inspect the strings of their bows and carefully arrange the arrows hanging at their sides. Every piece of equipment has been crafted by hand from materials gathered in the surrounding landscape. Their bows are carved from tough, resilient wood, while each arrow is made for a specific purpose, designed to bring down anything from small birds to much larger game. For dangerous animals, the hunters rely on arrows tipped with metal points, some coated with powerful natural toxins. Yet the most important tools they carry cannot be held in their hands. They travel without maps, modern technology, or supplies for the days ahead. Instead, they depend on an intimate knowledge of the land, the ability to read the faintest tracks in the dust, and generations of experience passed down through stories and practice. In the vast and unpredictable savanna, these skills are what guide them home and keep their ancient way of life alive. Hunting dogs are indispensable companions to the Hadza, using their sharp senses to detect scents, follow hidden trails, and alert the group to nearby animals. But the hunt itself begins not with speed or excitement, but with patience and silence. The hunters move carefully through the savanna, placing each step with precision to avoid rustling the grass or disturbing the brush. Along the way, even the smallest clues, a fresh footprint pressed into the dirt or a patch of grass bent only moments before, can reveal that an animal is somewhere nearby. For the Hadza, a successful hunt depends on far more than strength or endurance. It is a test of patience, observation, and experience. The hunters may spend hours tracking a single trail, stopping again and again to study the ground and piece together the movements of their prey. Every journey into the wilderness carries uncertainty. Their search could lead to a large antelope, a small bird hidden in the grass, or end without a single catch. Yet they continue forward, relying on skills refined over countless generations and an intimate understanding of the natural world. Among the many animals that roam the Hadza homeland, guinea fowl are a familiar sight, often wandering through open patches of grass in search of seeds, insects, and fallen fruit. The moment hunters spot fresh tracks in the dust, their pace slows and their attention sharpens. Every footprint, broken stem, or disturbed patch of earth offers clues about the bird's movements. Although guinea fowl spend much of their time feeding with their heads lowered, they are constantly on alert, ready to scatter at the slightest sign of danger. Closing the distance requires patience and absolute silence. The hunters move carefully through the grass, keeping their bows ready while making sure not to reveal their presence too soon. They wait for the perfect moment, when the birds are distracted and the shot is clear. Then, in a single fluid motion, one hunter draws back his bowstring and releases an arrow before the guinea fowl can take to the air or disappear into the surrounding brush. Tracking an impala demands far more skill and patience than hunting smaller animals. Alert, fast, and constantly aware of their surroundings, impalas can detect danger long before a hunter gets close. When the Hadza spot a herd feeding in the distance, they never approach it head-on. Instead, they study the animal's movements and quietly follow the signs left behind, searching for the safest route to get within range without being seen. Moving slowly through the savanna, the hunters use tall grass, thorny bushes, and the uneven terrain as natural cover. Every step is deliberate, every movement carefully controlled. They keep their bows lowered until the perfect opportunity presents itself. When a single impala drifts away from the herd and steps into a clear opening, one hunter takes position, steadies his breathing, and fixes his eyes on the target. In a moment of complete silence, he draws the bowstring tight and releases the arrow. A well-placed shot can bring the chase to an end within minutes, preventing the animal from escaping deep into the wilderness. As soon as the prey begins to weaken, the hunters move in carefully, following its trail and working together to secure it. Success in the Hadza world is rarely the result of one person's effort alone. It depends on patience, teamwork, and skills refined over generations. Back at camp, the meat does not belong solely to the hunter who released the arrow. Instead, it is divided among the families and shared with everyone in the community. In a way of life where no one can predict whether tomorrow's hunt will succeed, sharing is more than an act of generosity, it's a system of survival. Those who return with plenty today may depend on others when fortune turns against them, strengthening the bonds that have held the Hadza together for thousands of years. A hunter who returns with a successful catch is expected to share it with those who came back empty-handed. Around the fire, a meal becomes far more than a way to satisfy hunger. It strengthens the bonds that hold the community together. Families gather side by side, sharing freshly hunted meat, exchanging stories in quiet conversation, and recovering from the day's journey. In a world where survival depends on cooperation, every shared meal reinforces the trust and mutual support that have connected the Hadza for generations. Although life among the Hadza lacks many of the conveniences of the modern world, it is not defined by fear or insecurity. Instead, they have learned to live with the understanding that nature is unpredictable and that tomorrow can never be guaranteed. Droughts, changing seasons, and unsuccessful hunts are simply part of life. Rather than trying to control every outcome, the Hadza rely on their experience, adaptability, and deep connection to the land to face whatever challenges each new day may bring. Rather than trying to secure the future by stockpiling resources, the Hadza place their trust in something far more enduring: knowledge, teamwork, and the ability to adapt. Survival on the savanna depends not on how much a person possesses, but on how well they can read the land, respond to changing conditions, and rely on the people around them. For generations, these skills have allowed the Hadza to thrive in an environment where uncertainty is simply a part of everyday life. In a landscape where humans are not always the dominant predator, survival depends on skill rather than technology. Even today, some indigenous communities venture into the wilderness armed with little more than handcrafted bows, simple arrows, and generations of hard-earned knowledge. Every hunt is a lesson in reading the land, understanding animal behavior, and respecting the dangers hidden within the African bush. As the first light of dawn spreads across the landscape, the hunters quietly leave their camp and disappear into the forest. Conversation is kept to a minimum because even the smallest sound can send prey, running, or alert dangerous predators to their presence. Every step is measured, avoiding dry branches and crunchy leaves that could give them away. Instead of following a familiar trail, they let the forest guide them, studying the ground, the surrounding vegetation, and even the direction of the wind for the slightest sign that an animal has recently passed through. After several miles of careful tracking, the oldest hunter suddenly comes to a stop. Kneeling beside a patch of soft sand, he points to a fresh set of tracks. The rounded paw prints, faint claw marks, and evenly spaced stride leave little room for doubt. A leopard has crossed this path not long ago. The discovery instantly changes the mood. Somewhere nearby, one of Africa's most elusive and dangerous predators could still be watching from the shadows. The discovery immediately changes the hunter's approach. They spread out, slow their pace, and leave enough space between one another to avoid becoming an easy target. Experience has taught them that a leopard is rarely far from a reason to stay in one place. If one has recently passed through, there's a good chance food is nearby and the predator may not be far behind. From that point on, every detail matters. The hunters scan for clues most people would never notice: blades of grass pressed flat, patches of freshly disturbed soil, and branches still trembling from recent movement. Nearly 2 hours later, their patience pays off. High in the limbs of a large tree, they spot the lifeless body of an antelope. It has been carefully hauled into the branches, a telltale sign that a leopard has claimed its kill and hidden it from scavengers below. Leopards often drag their kills high into the trees, keeping them out of reach of hyenas and other scavengers on the ground. But a hidden meal also means its owner may still be close by. Knowing this, the hunters carefully search every shadow, scanning the thick brush, the bases of nearby trees, and the dense canopy above. In terrain like this, a single careless step or an unexpected sound could trigger a lightning-fast ambush. When the hunters are certain they've closed the distance, one of them slowly raises his bow without breaking the silence. He steadies his aim, draws the string, and releases the arrow. In an instant, the leopard explodes from its hiding place and vanishes into the thick undergrowth. The encounter is over almost as quickly as it began, leaving the hunters with their first successful harvest of the day. As the afternoon wears on and the hunters make their way toward the rocky hills, an eerie chorus drifts across the savanna. The sharp, uneven calls grow louder with each passing moment, leaving little doubt about what's coming. A pack of hyenas is on the move, and they're heading in the hunter's direction. Unlike the solitary leopard, hyenas rely on teamwork to gain the upper hand. They test their opponents with patience, surrounding the area from multiple directions while looking for any sign of hesitation or weakness. Their goal isn't always to fight outright. More often, they wait for the perfect opportunity to snatch an unguarded meal, forcing the hunters to stay alert until the last animal disappears back into the brush. The hunters immediately tighten their formation, standing shoulder to shoulder with their bows ready in every direction. Their eyes remain fixed on the largest hyena, the one leading the pack and searching for an opening. When a bull hyena moves too close and briefly exposes itself, one hunter reacts instantly, raising his bow and preparing to defend the group. The sudden release of the arrow sends the pack into confusion. Some hyenas quickly pull back, while others hesitate and continue testing the hunter's defenses. The men respond with loud shouts, raised weapons, and a powerful show of resistance. Realizing that the hunters will not surrender their food easily, the hyenas abandon their advance and disappear into the surrounding brush. When the hunters finally return to camp, the hard work of the day gives way to a shared celebration. The meat is carefully prepared, roasted over glowing coals, and divided among the families. In this community, success is never measured by individual achievement. The hunter who fired the first arrow or walked the farthest does not claim a larger reward. The food belongs to everyone. As the evening fire crackles, children gather beside the elders, listening closely as stories of the hunt are passed down. Through these moments, they begin learning the skills that have protected their people for generations: how to recognize animal tracks, read changes in the wind, and understand when patience is more important than action. Each story carries a lesson, preserving the knowledge needed to survive in the wilderness. African wild dogs have evolved to exploit that very strength. Rather than wasting energy in an all-out sprint from the start, they settle into a relentless, controlled pursuit, matching the impala's pace while steadily draining its endurance. Minute by minute, exhaustion begins to tip the balance. Each sharp turn becomes less precise, every obstacle grows more costly, and even the slightest mistake can transform a successful escape into a fatal ending. Everything changes when a pursuit reaches shallow water. Rather than charging in recklessly, the pack adapts with remarkable coordination. Some dogs race ahead to block the most likely escape route, while others continue applying pressure from behind, gradually steering the impala toward the river's edge. Once in the water, the hunters remain calm and surprisingly efficient, swimming with steady determination as they close the gap. With every passing moment, the impala loses another opportunity to break free until it is driven back onto solid ground, where the pack is ready to finish what it started. The outcome is not decided by overwhelming force or spectacular displays of aggression. It is the result of discipline, patience, and flawless teamwork. Every move is calculated to conserve energy while limiting the prey's choices. In the end, victory belongs not to the animal capable of the greatest burst of speed, but to the hunters who understand the perfect moment and place to bring the chase to an end. Each migration brings a new test for African wild dogs. Vast herds of wildebeest sweep across the plains, and every adult is a formidable opponent, often weighing well over 400 pounds. Their numbers, combined with remarkable stamina and the protection of a tightly coordinated herd, make them among the most difficult prey on the savanna. As long as the formation holds together, finding a vulnerable target is nearly impossible. Once a vulnerable wildebeest has been singled out, the chase unfolds with remarkable patience rather than reckless speed. The pursuit can continue for several miles as the pack settles into a relentless rhythm, taking turns driving the animal forward. By constantly rotating their effort, the hunters maintain steady pressure while denying their target even a brief chance to recover. For the fleeing wildebeest, every stride comes at a growing cost. There's no opportunity to catch its breath, no moment to rebuild the energy slipping away with each passing minute. Meanwhile, the pack remains disciplined, conserving its own strength through seamless teamwork. As exhaustion begins to erode the wildebeest's speed and reactions, the hunters gradually draw closer, tightening their formation until escape becomes increasingly unlikely. The final moments arrive with surprising efficiency. By now, the outcome has been shaped long before the chase reaches its end. The wild dogs do not prevail through overwhelming speed alone. They succeed because they can outlast their prey, maintaining relentless pressure while working together with extraordinary precision from the first stride to the last. That combination of endurance, discipline, and seamless cooperation has made African wild dogs among the most successful hunters on the savanna, with hunting success rates that often exceed 70%. In an ecosystem where every meal demands energy and every mistake carries a cost, survival belongs not only to the strongest or the fastest, but to those who have mastered the art of working as one. Yet even a